Hello friends, I'm Avinash. Today we are going to understand a little bit more about VHD or virtual hard disk or drives. Um, so it's similar to hard disk, but they are virtual. That's why they call it virtual hard disk. Today we'll try to understand more like what is first. Let's see what is virtual hard disk. It's just in a simple term, it's just image file, disk image file format, normally .vsd. There is an extended one available now. It's called VSDX. So we will see a little. There is only little difference between two, but we'll see it later. Mostly like what advantage does VSDX provide over the, but they are more or less same. Both are virtual hard disks. Um, so it's nothing like it's just the whole content. You were reading about the images. So it's something similar to the image where you just can create a virtual hard disk on your existing machine, as in like a file anywhere on the machine. So it's like a custom image. You can replicate your machine or like with an operating system or anything. And that will include all the configurations similar to the images we discussed on in the PPT. And you can store them anywhere on your machine. So once the file is created, you can use them to create the hard drive on the machine. We will go through the demo, how to create and how to do it. And we will look into this option using the iSCSI. But in the real world, they use fiber connection, FC, yeah, which is a lot faster than iSCSI. But we will use the iSCSI demo or iSCSI protocol in our demo. So that's free available on any Windows server, and we can easily demonstrate the capability of VSD and how we can create and how we can. So we'll try to cover those two things in our today's demo. So coming back to the VSD, we can create them using the two different settings. Like one is the fixed size, where I can say like 5 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte, and it will immediately allocate that kind of space from the machine the file is created. So for example, I have got 40 gigabyte. All of a sudden, if I say fixed size of 20 gigabyte, it will immediately take the 20 gigabyte out of my machine available memory. So the machine the file is sitting or will reduce down to the main drive will reduce down to the, for example, I'm creating a C drive. The C drive capacity will reduce down to by 20 gigabyte or whatever the size you're creating the VS. So that's one type, and another type is like you can use the option dynamically expanding. So what this option does is like when I select create the file with 5 gigabyte and I fill up the space, then it will automatically keep adding the space from the machine the file is sitting on. So again, like it will start taking the memory from wherever the file is created. If it's in a volume C drive, then it will start taking the space from the volume C drive. So it's very simple. Yeah, we'll cover this in the demo and you'll find it like really interesting, like how you can create the virtual hard drive. You can even, but we are not going to install any operating system or anything. We'll just demonstrate how we can map it onto the machine and all those things. And first we will use the normal feature, the VST file, and then we will use the ISW option to create the VST. And then we'll see the difference, how they can be used on different machines. We may also try with those hidden in the shared folder, which probably everyone may have used while working on the computer. If they are in a computer line, definitely the person must have dealt with the shared folders. So the VSD is slightly different than a shared folder. The VSD can contain the complete different operating system, because it's like another drive. You can install a new operating system on that machine, and you can boot your machine using the that new drive. So you can have like two operating systems running on machine same time. But shared folder will not let you do it. It's just sharing the files with read and write permission. Okay, so we talked a little advantage when we were just discussing what is VSD. So now if we see the advantages, as I said earlier, it can allow multiple operating system on the same machine. Because any drive we created, we can have like a bootable, it is bootable, so we can boot from the new drive. So in theory, like your machine can run Linux, Windows with no issues. So another advantage, like we said, like they are custom built, so you can create the custom machine images. We have seen it on GCP. Pre-configure those machines and take the image of those machines. So it's the same thing if I'm in a development environment. I can just pre-configure my drive with the pre-built configuration on a single VST, and then I can literally deploy my project from there. So if I end up doing any mistake, I can just start it, take a copy of that file and start again. So that's the ease of development, backup and restore. So we already said, like, if we end up doing anything wrong, but that wrong thing could be like any virus coming from outside source, any means, by installing a software or anything, I can just safely delete the copy I got from the .vsd file. I can just get the new file and then restore the my configuration from the scratch. So that's fairly easy. We'll see in demo how easy it is to use those files. So it's just literally 2-3 clicks of a button, and then the whole system is restored. The file is restored. Like once you have the file, you can just easily copy and paste depending on the size, and it will take its own time to copy across. But you don't have to worry about reconfiguring everything on the machine. This backup and restore is a lot faster than the real machine. For multi-user isolation, many people are working. They can have their own set of environment using different VHDs or different configurations. It provide a like provide us some sort of protection between them, like they can all work independently without having to worry about messing up with the configuration or anything like that. Or they like to install something, they can easily do it. And if they get a virus, then as we said, like backup and restore is available. So many advantages, like multi-user isolation, like at home we discussed about it, like I can create the uh, one VST for my kids, and they have a restricted set of environment there. I can just monitor what they're doing on that machine. I can have pre-installed other software to control the access which is going outside the machine. And I can have my own VST where it is fully open to do anything. So it's provide like that kind of isolation. And so moving, so we talked about VSDX. What is VSDX? So it's basically a successor of VSD file. Uh, so it's mostly VSDX. What it does is like the first thing it does is it basically increases the capacity limit, which was 2 terabyte on VSD file, and VSDX allows 64 terabyte, which is a great use, which normally um, when we are trying, we did literally like will not see the difference because we are only dealing in gigabytes rather terabytes, but in a like a big cloud environment, this will make a big difference because the drive they are dealing in terabytes, and the companies may require like a few terabytes for drives for their use. Like if it's a bigger company, then they may require a bigger file. So yeah, both files are same, can be mounted similar way, like the way we use mount to VST file using Fiber channel or iSCSI. I will cover this in our demo. Um, so now let's see how to mount VST and VSTX file in VM. So let's start our demo. I have my VM here. I need to power on my virtual machine. So I've got 3 virtual machines created. So one machine we will create. Sorry friends, my machine got stuck starting at 3 VMs. So for now, we just deal with 2 VM machines, and let's log on to these machines, which I guess. Okay, so now we are on the machines. So the first thing we learn how to create the VST files. This is we'll do using the a disk management application. So let's go to command prompt. Open a command prompt and type in disk ngmt command, which you may already be familiar with. Let's create create VST file. You can define any location. Let's do it on desktop. Just st1 VST. It's just about the limit, so you can see like you can either create VSGX or VST file. We are not going to cross the 2 terabyte limit, so we stick with 2 VST file, and the other VSGX limit is 64 terabyte. And then 2 types we discussed, fixed size and the dynamic expanding. We stick with the fixed size and create with the 2 gigabyte VST file. And I can understand it's not sufficient to install an operating system, but based on the memory available on your machine, you can create as much as you like, up to 2 terabyte. So as you can see, we have a disk available now here. Let's initialize this. All default option. And once it's done, then we do a new simple volume. 2 gigabyte, all of it we want. We assign to the drive E. And here you go. So we have a new hard drive now available. If I go on the command prompt, I can just E drive. So I've got E drive available now. So now my VST is mounted onto this machine. And I can make directory. Maybe I don't have the command available. Let's use our old way to do it. I go this PC, I have the folder created, and I do get directory, then the folder is available. So friend, this is the way we can do the create the VST file, mount it on the machine, and start doing anything, whatever like to do here. If you want to make it bootable, you can play around with the setting, put the bootable files. Then you can boot the system using the new hard drive, and you have a new operating system running on the machine. Okay, so now we are done with the VST file using the disk management. We created a file and then we mounted onto the machine. All simple. Now let's use the IceJZ to basically create the VST virtual hard VST file or VSTX file. Okay, so we unmount this. We make it offline, and then go to the desktop of this machine. We can delete the files. That's the file we created. We can delete it. Oh, Sorry. So friend, now coming back, sorry for the disturbance. Yeah, my son came in the middle. I started playing the video. So we have to basically, we were in the process of deleting the file. We created the VSD, then attached it. Now we have to detach it. So detach the VSD. It's detached now. And now what we have to do is just go back to the desktop and delete. The file is deleted now. So this was the simple process to create like a VSD using the disk management. So the other option is to do using the iSCSI option, where we can use the iSCSI to create the virtual hard drives. And iSCSI create them as like a VSDX file. So the limit here definitely to 64 terabyte. But again, we'll be just dealing in gigabytes. So to use the iSCSI option, what we need to do is like we go to the server manager, and if you remember, we installed the IS server. Similar way, we have to add roles and configuration, role-based feature, your VM. It will give you an IP address and information. And now the iSCSI is available here under the file and iSCSI services and iSCSI target server. And we'll set the feature and all default option, install. So in few seconds, the machine, it will configure the service on the server. And now using the iSCSI, we'll create the VSD file. Need to wait, get this finished. It's pretty quick. It's a lot quicker than IIS, definitely, but it is taking like a few seconds. Okay. So installation succeeded on VM2. Now what we have to do here. So going back, click on file and storage services, and you'll see the iSCSI option showing up here. Now what we have to do, you will see it here, or either you can new or import. The import option will work if you have someone has, like when we were reading about the advantage, if I mess up my machine, then normally the normal way we create them. So we keep a copy somewhere of that VSD file and just import it in our settings, create the hard disk on that machine. But for now, I think we'll be just creating the new virtual hard disk. And just click it here, not clustered. There are 2 drives available. So let's see, select C. Let's keep the default path. If you want it in a custom path, you select the custom path. But let's keep it default and click next. Name of the file, test VST2, because I'm test VST VM2. Description is optional. How much we want? Let's say 10 gigabyte. Dynamically or fixed size. Let's go for the fixed size. There is a third option available, but I've not covered this in today's topic. We were only focused on the fixed and the dynamically expanding file. So if I'll get a chance, I will try to cover the differencing option. But our focus is more on understanding the VSD, how to mount them. As you can see, it's a parent-child relation with another disk. So if you want to create a virtual hard disk from like a parent disk, parent virtual disk, then maybe this option. But I will not speak about it because right now I do not have enough information on this. So let's keep it fixed size. And so what will be the target of this file? So I can fix the target. So once I fix the target, it will be available on that machine only. So I cannot have more than one target, because once the drive is configured to that target, other machine cannot use it, because it's same as like I have a C drive on one machine. I cannot have the same C drive on the other machine. Although it will be called C drive, but I will not be a separate installation or separate drive altogether. So once I create drive, so it's a 1:1 mapping. So let's create the new target. Name test VHD VM1, because we are going to create it on the VM1 target. And we add IP address, the IP address of 10.0.01. So we added the IP address of a machine where we want to mount this machine to, the 10.0.0.1, which is my IP address of my VM1. And then there are extra authentication. We don't need it for now. We just want to see how the service and mount work. And then we create. Okay, so we have created one hard drive on this machine, which is not connected, and initiator will be 10.0.1. So now if I go on this machine and I have ISO-Z initiator, as you can see, the configuration, I just say 10.0.2 because that's the configuration IP address of my machine. Quick connect. And you can see it's connected. And now if I go to VM, if I refresh, connected. So can you see like we can set up the set the target? We created the VSTX file, set the target, and then using the ISSG initiator, we mounted now. So we basically connected the VM1 is connected to the VM2 VST file. Now again, we need to use the disk management to mount this file. So that's the way only, that's the only way I know. I can explain how to mount the file on a Windows machine. So let's do it. So same command. Okay, so open now the disk management. Hey, you can see the new disk we created is already available now. The same thing, we have to make this online. And then we have to do the initialize the disk. Okay, and then after initialize, we create the simple volume, E drive, and bingo. Here you go. It's a new volume which is connected to this machine, and we have used iSCSI service to connect to this machine. And the drive is successfully mapped onto the new machine. So the whole idea of this demo is basically understand how the hard drive and the storage is provided in the GCP cloud world. So they use the similar methodology. So in a stack, they will create like a terabytes of memory. From there, for each client or each machine, behind the scene, they will create the VST file, and that will get mapped to the machine. This is what exactly we demonstrate today. So we on a, let's say the server was VM2, and in a GCP world, there will be server with a terabyte and petabyte, like even like the more memory you can imagine. And from there, so using the fiber connect, they will create the storage there. And on the new machine, which could be like our VM1 or any virtual machine we create, and from there, it will just map the drive onto that new machine. So this is how the drive and the storage is maintained in the cloud world. So definitely it's not, it may not be, it may not be giving you the complete understanding of how it is done in the background in the cloud world, but we got pretty good understanding like how this is done on the like a virtual machines, like two virtual machine, and how we map those, a drive onto the like a client machine. So we are assuming like we have used iSCSI here, but they in the clouds or GCP or the cloud provider use fiber channels and other faster option to basically provide that connection, which is a lot faster than iSCSI. iSCSI is very slow, but it provides like a good use of like a service and demonstrate whatever we wanted to demonstrate today, like how do we mount the files, how do we connect the VST file on one server machine, and then how to the client use that VST file to basically create the drive. Now, once the drive is created, then you can have your operating system running on it and configure the machine the way you want to configure. So as simple as that. Um, that was all I wanted to cover in like how to mount the files and how to create the VS file, and using iSCSI, how do I uh, mount the drive from the server location. Hope you liked the session today, and if you have any feedbacks, please you can get back to me. Thank you.